What's your biggest non-sexual fantasy? Move to Ireland and live on one of those gorgeous country landscapes, away from society. Like the opening scene from Father Ted? Feck off. I've been writing a book on and off for about 6 years now. My fantasy is to finish it and have it become a Hunger Games style hit with young adults, then become a movie. I would be heavily involved in the movie and John Bernthal would play one of my main characters in. Then we'd become friends. When I'm feeling extra silly, I imagine winning Best Adapted Screenplay at the Oscars and crying in front of millions of people watching while I tell them that regular people can make magic too. I get it. I've always wanted to have a popular webcomic. I can make funny jokes and I can draw to a reasonable standard, but I don't think I'm quite good enough to make stuff people would actually want to read. Still, if I lose too many shifts from the coronavirus outbreak, maybe I'll give it a crack and see what happens. Go for it. No webcomic is 100% zingers. Everyone has jokes that fall flat, and drawing ability doesn't matter much as long as your art is consistent. XKCD has gotten by with stick figures for years now, and GT. Go for it. No webcomic is 100% zingers. Everyone subscribe to my new webcomic 100% zingers. Sometimes, I imagine being able to get my own cozy apartment and do things like raising cats, cooking and sewing. I could try new things like gardening as well. Just a quiet, peaceful life without stress or worries. Mine is in a similar vein. Quiet, peaceful life. I take my fantasy a little further. I live in the country in a small house with a lot of natural light and with no one around, and I can hear birds in the morning in silence instead of cars. Here to the coziest of fantasies. NLT 3. Same. Move away from the big city I grew up in and have a simple life. I'd have like 10 dogs. A garden that I am consistently trying to keep alive. Annoying myself with all my DIY projects. Reading books outside on a hammock. Getting baked and baking desserts. The worst thing I have to deal with is who is doing the dishes that night and folding laundry. That's the life. To run and dance naked under the sprinklers at a big broccoli farm. This is oddly specific. Edit. My top comment of all time is about dancing naked under broccoli sprinklers. Thanks guys. Not specific enough. Can't tell if the farm is big that grows average-sized broccoli or if the broccoli is big on a reasonably sized farm. I don't care about being mega rich, but to live comfortably, financially, in a cozy house with lots of animals and a job I love is a dream of mine. Same. Financial freedom is my ultimate goal in life, whatever the number is. I want to earn enough money so that I can wake up every morning and do whatever I want to do, without answering to anyone. To be yearned for. I love the verb yearn. Have you ever yearned, Jerry? I crave all the time. Constant craving. But I haven't yearned. Man, I just want a hug. When I'm in the shower, I like to imagine what it would be like to be famous and interviewed by Oprah. Oprah would ask if I always thought I would be famous, and I would answer that I would stand in my shower thinking if I was ever famous I would be interviewed by Oprah. I get stuck in this thought loop. Water turns cold. It's 40 minutes later and I haven't scrubbed myself yet. Oh my god, I have that exact same problem when I shower, except I imagined having a conversation with someone, then telling them that I predicted we would have this conversation. Then I imagine telling them that I imagined telling them about thinking of the conversation in the shower, and how I imagine telling them about that, and then I get stuck in a loop until I snap out of it. Does this have a name? Possibly maladaptive daydreaming. That term has different specific criteria, but I think this falls under it. This is also a typical narcissistic fantasy. It's something people who are craving social contact simply didn't have enough growing up to compensate. I empathize with you and the other PPL who replied to this post. Been maladaptive daydreaming, having imaginary conversations since I was a kid. Hope this was helpful. Much love, Green Heart. I can travel back in time to when I was in like 2nd grade and try my life over again knowing what I know now. It always starts with me telling my parents to buy stock in Apple lol. You should also invest your $5 allowance in Bitcoin. I would travel back to 2011 when I was deployed and spending a lot of money on dumb, and instead take like $3,000 or $4,000 and buy Bitcoin. Sell in 2017 and I'm basically set for life. that I actually get to play D&D instead of DM. If I could, I'd invite you to a session where you could play. This is just all a horrible dream, and I will eventually wake up in a utopia. Escapism. To be loved. Same. Also, I'm just so touch-starved. I dream of one day having someone to cuddle with. Some people have fantasies. I just have hug and cuddle fantasies. Or sometimes even just sitting on the same couch watching a movie or chatting fantasies. Was actually starting to make decent friends this semester, and now the whole uni is basically on lockdown. Go to sleep and wake up refreshed. Live in my own house, apartment, which may not be huge but is not cramped. My job may not be my dream job, but it allows me to live relatively comfortably. I have friends who care about me. To love and be loved. Edit. I'm really surprised that so many people also dream about this really attainable life. Seems kinda sad that way, but I'm glad we all have something to live for. I fantasize about these because I'm young, too young to date, going to college this year, haven't gotten a job, haven't moved out, etc. I do have friends who care about me, and I want them to still be there in the future. I hope all of you find peace someday. And to those who have attained this already, thank you so much for giving me hope. I've got everything here except a lover, nice bed and plenty of time to sleep, my own apartment, a job I enjoy that pays me well above what the average American makes, a few close friends who I can rely on. I still find myself yearning for something more, and I often think about dropping it all to try and start over somewhere else, thinking that would make me happier. Then I remember that happiness doesn't come from what we have, it comes from within. Deciding to be proud of ourselves and who we are, deciding that we are worth fighting for, and then acting on it. You could achieve every single thing you mentioned and still be miserable. I suggest you take some baby steps to improve yourself. Maybe find a habit that you enjoy so it's not a chore to follow it. Maybe start working out in a way you enjoy. Maybe look for ways to volunteer your time and help the community. All I'm trying to say is that you are worth it. When you start believing that and acting on it, your goals will come naturally. You need to decide to be happy first, though. There's a line in Hemingway, if you're not happy here, you won't be happy there. It really stuck with me. I am in NYC. I eat a slice of pizza from every pizza shop in the 5 boroughs. Every one. All in a single day. From this I have no ill effects and feel perfectly fine the next day, which is steak day. This is where I eat a steak from every steak restaurant in NYC. From this I have no ill effects and I'm ready to wake up to bagel day. This guy gets it. He just gets it. I'd absolutely love to be a magical warrior with mystical companions and familiars, a dragon, and living in a magical world with magical creatures. Biggest fantasy since 3rd grade. Lol. Edit. I didn't expect this to blow up. Thank you all for all the replies. I'm sorry I couldn't upvote them all, though I certainly tried. Yes, I do play D&D smiley face. This is my fantasy as well. I used to sit in my room and stare out my window wishing a portal would open and my favorite characters from my favorite books would jump out of the portal and tell me that they needed my help. I'd pack the essentials, then jump through the portal with them that led me to their world, and I'd never look back. I'm 32 now and I still fantasize about that sometimes. Try out Dungeons and Dragons or another pen and paper tabletop RPG. I was fascinated by fantasy since I was about 10, and then like 2 years ago when I was 19, a friend started a D&D group with him as GM. We played quite a lot since then. After a while we switched to the Dark Eye. I started GMing Call of Cthulhu, which we still play. We currently play Genesis, which is more post-apocalyptic, and occasionally Fragged Kingdom. We also tried Fragged Empire, which is sci-fi. Had a one-shot of Goblin Quest, which is a super easy funny tabletop RPG where you can get the PDF with rules for free. There are also a few we have on hold for now, like the Witcher RPG. You can live so many awesome fantasy stories with this hobby. You can be whatever you want and live an awesome, chaotic story in a way a book or movie never could. Look for events near you or ask your family friends. You are never too old to start it, and there is definitely the right RPG for you in whatever universe you want. I had everything from a Swiss Hellbard-style mercenary with a strict moral compass who was devoted to his goddess, a post-apocalyptic raider who lives fast and will die young, a female elven smith who somehow managed that the settlement she co-founded accidentally turned fascist and started a holocaust against goblins, and there also was a weird alien space tree named Brute, writing and publishing a book. grandiose, but maybe one day. Don't give up. In high school, my friend used to tell me all about his series of books he wanted to write one day. We used to talk about it all the time. 10 years passed and one day I had a text from him asking for my address. He said he was gonna send me a Christmas present, and there came his first book. We lost touch after high school and drifted apart, but he is a person. He never forgot it. I started crying when I saw the book. He wrote a little note thanking me for believing in him. So it is sure not impossible, just believe in it. Sometimes I have this fantasy of packing up my things, getting in my car, and driving somewhere else and starting my life over. I did that. It was worth it. I barely keep in touch with my family because they are toxic and hateful. I got married, went back to school, got a really stable job. Totally worth it. It was a struggle at first, but I am happy with my progress and new life. Edit. I was lucky in my situation. It isn't that grand of a story. I met someone I played games with online and moved from Arizona to Louisiana. He let me live with him. His mom did her best to hook me up with work. I ended up finding my own job in retail. Got married to above-mentioned man. As I worked in retail, I went to a community college, got great grades. Had to stop for a bit to work. Worked at a horse racing track. Went back to school with help from a debate team scholarship. Graduated. Started working for the state. Well done for making that jump in life. Winning the lottery. Then building an average size or slightly above average home, but customized to how I wanted. 3 to 4 bedrooms, a library, project room, kitchen with professional quality equipment. She wants a nice kitchen for when she wants to play. If we hired a chef, I don't want to embarrass them with a mess stove from Home Depot. Doesn't have to be the most expensive available, but I want quality equipment. Green, solar powered, able to charge my Tesla Model 3. Traveling the world some. This. And then being able to use trusts and get my nieces and nephew into college or trade school, whatever education they want to pursue, and try all the hobbies I've always wanted. Yes, this is so much. And to give my parents money so they are debt-free and help them retire wherever they want. They are in debt because they helped me the only way they could. Mental stability. You smart, I hope you go to college. But then no more mental stability. That I have a small shelter that exists outside of time that I can summon and go into and inside of. It is a bedroom with bed, bookshelf, kitchen with all the amenities, bathroom, etc. And since it's outside of time, I can spend as much time as I want inside, and no time passes in the real world. So when I'm really tired, I think about how nice it would be to just pop off and sleep a few hours. Getting food today. Can you get delivery? I can throw in a few dollars. Living in the Star Trek universe where there is no money and we all pursue what interests us. Food, shelter, healthcare, and education are all free and we all try and get along. The whole planet. Total fantasy, but that's what I would love to have happen.